85. This is Rogers Cable TV's fourth year of covering this prestigious motorcycle road racing weekend here at Shannonville Motorsport Park. Joining us on this year's broadcast is former amateur Superbike champion and the fifth place finisher in the Superbike feature here last year, Ian McCallum. Ian, I think never in the history of this event have there been so many potential race winners of that Superbike feature.
Oh, that's right, Pat. The number one guy you got to look at is Art Robbins to repeat his. He won here last year. He's got a great chance of repeating. Alan Bross, who won here in round 3 on his Honda NS 500. You've got Paul McMillan on the Katana. He's got a great chance. He's run real strong on that bike. And, of course, you've got Clive Nigakeen on his Yamaha.
What about the man they call the Flying French-Canadian? Michel has had a very good year so far.
Michel's had a great year. He's been riding really, really strong. To me, he's got a real good chance of winning this. And also, Rube McMurdo, we can't forget him.
Any other riders we might look for out there?
Peter Lusby from Moncton, New Brunswick on his Honda. He's been running real strong up here. He holds the lap record for the 750 Superbike class here, and also running real strong in the AMA. Yeah, he's got a great chance.
Okay, Ian, in addition to our open Superbike feature, we'll also be looking at some of the support class races, some of the other pro classes, and some of the amateurs, and we'll also look at our very exciting sidecar final. It all promises to be a very exciting and entertaining weekend of road racing here at Shannonville Motorsport Park. This is Shannonville Motorsport Park, 1.63 kilometers around. It's been the starting point for many promising road racing careers. It's become a favorite circuit with racers and fans alike because the spectators can see about 80% of the racetrack and keep on top of the action. Off the start-finish line, the riders head through the fastest corner on the track, turn 1.
And that's right, Pat. Corner 1 is a right-hand corner, a fast corner, a little bump. As you enter it, exit hard, about 80 miles an hour, accelerating up to about 125 miles an hour.
Into turn number 2, which is a virtual 90-degree right-hander. Lots of brakes, go down through the gearbox to about second gear, through a short chute into turn 3.
Corner 3 is a tight right-hand corner. Squeak the brakes a little bit and accelerate hard out of it down the little straightaway to corner 4.
All on that straightaway into the left-hander at turn 4, Sterling Moss Corner here at Shannonville Motorsport Park, named 3 years ago after the world-renowned racing car driver. That's the only real true left-hand corner on the track. The rider's back again on the throttle along the back straightaway into turn 5. That's the tight right-hand hairpin.
This corner tightens up a lot more than what it looks like because the riders are banked over. They got to go over as far as the bike will go and try and accelerate through it to get the drive into the dogleg.
Through the dogleg into turn 6, the right-hander that'll bring the riders back onto the start-finish straightaway. That corner is faster than it really looks.
That's right, Pat. It's a lot faster than it looks. You come into it fast, you just squeak the brakes again, and head down the start and finish line.
To complete the 1.63 kilometer tour, that is Shannonville Motorsport Park. Art Robbins from West Hill, Ontario, won the Molson Superbike Challenge here at Shannonville Motorsport Park in 1982 and again last year. Earlier this year, he won the Gimli, Manitoba 4th round of the Castrol National Series in the Open Superbike class. In private testing sessions prior to this Molson Superbike Challenge weekend, Robin has reportedly gone under his own track record on his Yamaha Toronto TZ750. Paul McMillan of Markham, Ontario is the defending Castrol Series champion. He's riding the Brooklyn Cycle Suzuki Katana 1000 that he won the championship on last year, along with a new Suzuki GSXR that he'll run in the 750 Superbike class. He won the first 2 rounds of the Castrol Series in the rain here at Shannonville Motorsport Park and at Mosport Park. Michel Mercier of Mississauga, formerly from Thetford Mines, Quebec, is perhaps Canada's most talented motorcycle racer. After winning 5 ice racing championships and being a top-ranked dirt tracker, he's become one of Canada's premier road racers. He's racing in 5 classes in the Castrol Series, including the Pro Open Superbike class, where he'll be riding Team Suzuki equipment under the guidance of former Canadian champion George Marin. Reuben McMurdo is still looking for his first Molson Superbike Challenge win. Most of his racing the last 2 years has been in the United States, where he was the number 3 ranked rider in Superbike racing in 1984. In March of this year, he finished 5th in the prestigious Daytona 200-miler, being a Superbike race for the first time. A week ago at Laguna Seca, California, he rode to a fine 3rd-place finish in the Superbike class, and he'll be aboard the Rick Thomas Sick-tuned Sports Afield Yamaha FZ 750. Riders on the starting line for the Pro 750 Superbike final. Waiting for the drop of the flag, and there it is. The drag race off the line into turn one. It is Paul McMillan, number one, who grabs the early lead. 24 McMurder and 11 Mercier battle for that second place position. Up the straightaway, it's McMillan, number one, with the lead.
Definitely a Paul McMillan patented hole shot there, Paul. Great start by him.
McMillan, who has gotten some great starts over the years here at Shannonville, pulling off another one here as he leads it out of turn three and onto the short chute. McMurder, number 24, closing as they move through the left-hander to go on the back chute for the first time. Paul McMillan, number one, tucked in on the Suzuki. McMurder, number 24, on the inside, goes for the lead. He's got it in the hairpin. McMillan right back on the inside, goes back out in front. What a battle those two riders had in turn five. And McMurder, 24 on the inside, takes over the lead. Oh, three lead changes in two corners. McMurder, your new leader. McMillan, number one in second. Michelle Mercier, number 11, runs in the number three spot.
These guys are definitely going for it, Pat. They're riding the wheels off these things. I think McMurder has a little bit of horsepower advantage over Paul.
McMurder on the Sports Field Yamaha FZ 750. That motorcycle continues to be raced and developed throughout 1985. The production machine has been highly modified here for Pro 750 Superbike racing, and they're just starting to get the motorcycle up to its potential. McMurder runs with the lead down the back chute. The battle for second, it is rider number 13, Peter Lusby, on the inside of Michelle Mercier. Lusby, the Moncton, New Brunswick rider, on the Honda machine. That's a Honda Interceptor up into the number three spot. So it's Yamaha leading, Suzuki in second, Honda now up into the number three position.
Lusby riding quite well here. He holds the lap record for this class, so he can find a chance of pulling this one off.
Lusby on the move here now as he'll challenge for second place, pulling up alongside of number one, Paul McMillan, going into turn two, and we've got a new second place rider. So it is Peter Lusby, the New Brunswick rider on that Honda Interceptor 750, who has taken over the number two spot. But great racing all the way through the top five. Part of the capacity crowd watching the battle here on the last lap. It is Michelle Mercier who's taken over the lead, and there goes McMurder on the inside, side by side out of turn number six at the line, the checkered flag, and it is Reuben McMurder, number 24, who wins it. He'll take his victory lap. Michelle Mercier very close behind in second. Peter Lusby from New Brunswick finishes third on the Honda. Norm Murphy on the Brooklyn Cycle Suzuki finishes fourth. And early race leader Paul McMillan, also up on a Brooklyn Cycle Suzuki, finishes back in the number five position. But an outstanding ride for Reuben McMurder on the Sports Field Yamaha. Earlier, the fans saw a great sidecar final.
That's right, Pat. They saw a great race. These two guys here, Fillery and Reedman, were part of that race, but as you can see, they've broken down in this one.
Fillery, of course, last year won the sidecar championship in the United States. Murray and Millard aboard the number 33 sidecar, just heading up the straightaway. Your new leaders, Murray and Millard. This is a brand new sidecar that they have put out here on the racetrack. They're the veterans, the Daly brothers, aboard sidecar 41. So we've still got a good battle here for the lead. Here are a couple of the slower sidecars on the racetrack. That is Mick Griffin aboard sidecar 55. They're going to be lapped here shortly by the front-running two rigs. There is 33. That is Murray and Millard, followed by the Daly brothers in sidecar 41.
Well, Pat, you can't count the Daly brothers out. Of course, they set a lap record here yesterday in practice, and they're going to be going quite hard.
All of the sidecar teams have really been knocking that sidecar lap record here at Shannonville Motorsport Park down. We had a lap record set yesterday by the Daly brothers in the qualifying heat. There's the last lap flag out. Murray and Millard through turn number one. Look at that passenger riding style of the number three sidecar. That is James Murray as he now gets back into the chair.
That passenger hangs off like that, Pat, to give the rear wheel a lot of traction coming out of corners. If they don't have it, the rear wheel tends to spin, and they lose all kinds of time.
Well, we're looking at some classic sidecar racing here by Murray and Millard as they run it out at turn number three, and now they set it up for the left-hander.
That's right. The passenger hanging on the left-hand side of the chair to give the sidecar balance. If he's not there, the whole chair will flip over.
Now it is Murray getting back into the chair, less than a lap to go. Off the end of the back chute, there the Daly brothers still within striking distance, but Murray and Millard would really have to get into trouble here with just a couple of corners to go. They're out of turn 5 through that left-hand dog leg. 1 corner to go, and then they'll see the checkered flag. Out of turn 6, there's the checkered flag and the victory for the Michigan duo of James Murray and Jeff Millard. John and Arthur Daly finish in second aboard their Suzuki-powered sidecar. Robert Garbutt and Gary Carlson, also from Michigan, aboard a Kawasaki-powered rig, finish in the number 3 spot. But they're your happy winners, Jeff Millard and James Murray, the Daly brothers.
Jeff, great ride out there. You guys are going pretty fast for first time out in this rig.
Yeah, it feels great. Things definitely working good. We went to the Yamaha TZ this year instead of the cow and dropped about 200 pounds, and definitely makes a world of difference.
What about Filler and Reedman every time and trying to get you inside of 5? Did you know they were going to try that every lap?
Yeah, once in a while I can see them stick the nose in there, and all they could do is try to hold my line. I figured if I had the line track small, I'd have a hard time getting by you.
Where would you seem to pull away coming down the front straightaway? Where were they gaining back, like closing back up on you?
They were gaining in the corners. A little bit in the sharp right-hander back there coming into the straight. I started to lose my brakes a little bit and had to slow down a little earlier, and that's where they close in on me.
Well, great ride. Good luck. Where do you go from here?
Mid-Ohio in 2 weeks.
AMA National?
AMA National, right.
Good luck down there.
Thanks a lot.
The start of our Pro 750 production final in a turn 1. Mario Duhamel, number 76, the first-year Pro Class rider. Duhamel has taken the early lead. Don Gray Wheeler, 264 on the Yamaha FZ 750, follows in the number 2 position. Michel Mercier getting by Derek Badaglia into the number 3 spot.
That's Wheeler having a good ride out there. He's been complaining all weekend of his bike not handling, but he's doing quite well right now.
Don Gray Wheeler, there's a rider off the track there coming out of turn 3. We'll pick up on it as Duhamel leads it. There's the downed rider. That is John Morris, who's had a hard crash here at turn 3. Morris is up. It looks like he's going to be okay, but a tough crash there for the Ottawa rider. Duhamel, number 76, your leader, and there goes Mercier on the inside of Don Gray Wheeler. He takes over the number 2 spot. So Mercier knows that he's got to get up front here early and get on to Duhamel before the Quebec rider Duhamel is able to open up such a big lead that Mercier just can't get back onto it.
Mercier is definitely on the charge pad. It'll be interesting to see how much power, disadvantage or advantage his bike has being a 2-stroke against a 4-stroke.
Mercier out here on this brand new Suzuki RG500 is a square 4 liquid-cooled 2-stroke engine, basically designed after the old 500cc Grand Prix bike. So you're looking at what is really racing technology made street legal. And right now Mercier pulls up alongside of Duhamel. They go side by side. The 2 riders almost touch on the back straightaway. Wheel to wheel off the end of the back chute into turn 5. And Michel Mercier has taken over the lead.
He's definitely riding. He wants this victory bad, Pat. He's riding really well, but he's going to have to really go to shake Duhamel.
Duhamel, 76, sticks on the rear tire to Mercier as they run across the line. That battle for third is a good one between Madaglia, 162, and 264, Don Gray Wheeler. But up the straightaway, this is your race for the lead. Michel Mercier, number 11, 76, Mario Duhamel. And again, just a couple of bike lengths apart. There goes Madaglia, number 162, in a third after Don Gray Wheeler got off the racing line there in turn 2.
Definitely getting a little wide. I think Wheeler went just a little hot into that corner, a little too much brakes, and had to go way outside. And of course, Derek dove underneath him.
Well, that's been indicative of the 1985 season for Don Gray Wheeler, a former pro production champion himself. He's had a tough 1985 campaign. Number 76, in the contrast, has had an outstanding season so far. Mario Duhamel, number 76, on the Brooklyn Cycle Suzuki. Mercier, number 11, on the Team Suzuki Gamma 500, as he runs almost alongside of Duhamel up the straightaway. But it is Duhamel who holds the advantage. They've swapped back the lead here a number of times. This race looks as though it's going to go right down to the checkered flag before they decide those top 2 positions.
That's right, Pat. Michel seems to be setting Mario up a little bit on the brakes. He seems to go a lot deeper into the corners. I think he's just biding his time to see what happens.
Well, the advantage of running in that number 2 position, you get a chance to gauge the other riders, see which part of the track you're a little bit faster on than he is, and then, of course, plan your late race strategy. On to turn number 5. Mario Duhamel, your race leader. 11, Michel Mercier in second. And these 2 riders have been running this close together for much of our Pro 750 production final. Across the line, back into turn one. Again, these production motorcycles, 75, 80 miles an hour, leaned right over. The riders on the edge of traction through the number one turn. Again, braking hard down through the gearbox. Pitch the motorcycles right to make it through that 90-degree right-hand turn.
You watch the different riding styles of the two riders, you can see that Duhamel hangs off the bike a little more than Mercier as they head down here into corner 4.
They split a back marker coming into turn 4 as Mercier seems to be taking the wider sweeping lines. Duhamel, of course, with a lot of motocross experience. He was an expert motocross rider. There you can see number 11, Mercier, closing it up under braking. But Duhamel tends to chop off the turns, tucks in a little tighter through the turns as Mercier takes the wider sweeping lines. The last lap flag is out. Duhamel checked over his left shoulder, and right there is that blue and white Suzuki 500 of Michel Mercier. This should be an extremely interesting final lap.
I don't think he expected Michel to be as close as he was when he looked over there. He's going to have to really get on the gas here.
There you can see the two different lines in turn number 2. Mercier is right up on a Duhamel. It's less than a lap to go. They run it out of corner number 3, back onto the short chute. It is Mercier going up on the outside. But Duhamel again takes the inside line, holds onto the lead. Mercier, number 11, closes along the back straightaway. He's going to have to try to get him here at the end of the back chute. Going into turn 5. It is still Duhamel. But here comes Mercier on the inside. He's right up alongside the two riders. Touch through the dog leg. Here's Mercier in the lead. Duhamel, 76, is trying to get him at the line. The checkered flag is out. It'll be a photo finish, but I think it is Mercier by half a wheel length. Duhamel, number 76, will finish in second. A fine ride for the rookie, Derek Medaglia. It is Don Gray Wheeler, number 264, on the Yamaha in fourth. And Quebec rider Jean Paquette, number 93 on a Suzuki, finishes back in the number 5 position. But there is Michel Mercier, number 11, as he has won our Pro 750 production final.
Michel, a great ride out there. Where did you get by Mario?
Well, I kind of studied him all the race because I knew he had, his tire were holding the bike better than mine. I guess I chose the wrong tire pressure or something. And I studied him, and on the last lap it didn't work out good. I tried him between 2 and 3. So finally I tried him again going in 5. I knew he was going tight, so I went wide and cut him on the inside because I knew he was going on heavy braking, so it would give me a little room if I just catch that, just that bit of time. I'll get on the inside, then we'll go on the S's together, and then I downshift to get good power coming out of the turn.
Okay, well, good luck in the Pro Superbike final.
Thank you.
Michel Mercier, the happy winner of the Pro 750 production final, will be back right after these messages.
It's all here. Much music. The best thing that's ever happened to your TV. Coast to coast in stereo, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with rock news, contests, concerts, specials, and so much more. It's the complete music network. The best in music videos and everything else, all for less than the cost of a burger and fries. Be a part of the nation's music station. Get your Much Music today.
The amateur 600 production riders on the starting line awaiting the flag to get their final underway. There is Mike Clements, number 214, Jean Bourret, 828. Riders revving up those motorcycles. The clutches are dumped. The riders off the line, heading into turn 1. It is number 828, Jean Bourret from Laval, Quebec, with the lead on the Kawasaki Ninja 600. A quick start here for Bourret, a very experienced motocrosser, ice racer, and dirt tracker who's becoming one of the premier amateur riders in road racing in 1985. The field of riders, some 30 strong here on lap 1, but it is Bourret, number 828, who has the lead. Mike Clements, number 214, right on him in the number 2 position, and that is Jamie McGregor running in the number 3 spot on a Yamaha 500. So it's Kawasaki, Suzuki, and Yamaha in that order here on lap 1. Phil Whetstone making a challenge there for third. Whetstone up on the Yamaha 500 has now taken over that third place position. But here's your leader, Beret number 828, followed by Clements, and then it is Whetstone number 32. They move on the front straightaway to complete lap 1.
Mike Clements riding really well, Pat, on that RG 500 he just built on Friday. He's going quite well.
That, of course, is a brand new 1985 production motorcycle. Here's Clements closing along the straightaway, but again, it is Beret who holds the lead. Clements had a notion there to try to stuff Beret on the inside. He grabbed lots of brakes and could not get around Beret as they move back out of turn 3. There is Clements side by side with Jean Beret. Clements goes wide. Beret tucks it on the inside. He holds onto the lead.
He's riding quite hard, Mike Clements, on that RG 500. I think he's going to try and make a move here in corner 5.
Well, Clements definitely with the horsepower advantage on the Kawasaki. Beret having to make up his time in the turns by waiting and holding his braking to the very last second. They come through the right-hander here at turn 6 to move on the front straightaway. It'll be lap number 2 in the books in our amateur 600 production final. And there's the new leader here at the start of lap 3. Mike Clements has gone around number 828, Jean Beret. It is still Phil Whetstone, number 32 in third. Jamie McGregor runs fourth. There's Beret trying to close it back up on Mike Clements. But Clements now starting to open up the advantage. The field pretty well strung out here on lap number 3. But Mike Clements out of London, Ontario on the Suzuki RG 500 leads it out of turn 4 and out of the short chute. A good battle for second between Whetstone number 32 and 828 Beret.
I was going to say, Pat, Phil Whetstone is definitely on the charge for that second place position. In fact, he has it.
Nice move by Whetstone as under braking going into the hairpin at turn 5. Whetstone takes over that second place position. He now wants a piece of the lead as he charges after the leader, Clements. It is Beret in third. Good battle going on there for fourth. About 5 riders all running in a train for that fourth place position. Some of the action further back. There's rider number 61, Kyle Andrews, and Dominic Michaud crashing there through turn 6. Both riders are up and appear to be okay.
Yeah, it looked like Kyle Andrews tried to take the easy way through that corner through the grass and seemed to get out of shape and knock Dominic off.
There's your leader, Clements, number 214. Both Andrews and Michaud are up, and they'll be okay. But their afternoon has ended early here at Shannonville Motorsport Park. The margin between the leader, Clements, number 214, and the second place rider, number 32, Phil Whetstone, starting to open up as Clements leads it here by a good 30 bike lengths as the last lap flag is now out at the line in our amateur 600 production final. Right now, Mike Clements holding a commanding lead.
Yeah, he's riding very well, Pat. I don't think Phil Whetstone's got enough time to reel him in, though, as they head down into corner 2.
Clements right now is backed off just a little bit here on the last lap. Clements, number 214. There is your leader coming through turn 3 for the final time. He's onto the short chute, setting it up for the big left-hand hook around that'll lead the riders onto the back straightaway. Mike Clements sitting up now along the back straightaway. He knows he's got the comfortable lead. He can pretty well cruise on home here to the checkered flag. Phil Whetstone still pushing hard. And a good battle going on for third place as well. That's going to go right down to the checkered flag. But here's your leader, Mike Clements.
Mike Clements wins it on that brand new RG 500 he just built on Friday. Quite a ride.
There's the checkered flag and the victory for Clements. 32 Whetstone will finish in second. But there is the winner, Mike Clements. Phil Whetstone in second. Dave Mulhall moved up to grab third. Jean Beret, the early leader, will finish fourth. And Paul Boysen will finish back in the number 5 position. Here is your winner, Mike Clements, completing his checkered flag victory lap. Ian McCallum is down at the start-finish line, and he'll have a word here with our amateur 600 production winner.
Great ride, Mike. Not bad for a guy that built this bike here on Friday.
Yeah, it's working pretty good. I got to say that much. I really like it.
Did Phil Whetstone give any problems out there?
Yeah, well, he's going fast around the corners, but I think this baby's got a little more guts on him, so really works well.
Congratulations.
Great, thanks a lot. Appreciate that.
The riders on the starting line for the Pro Formula 2 final. Lee Rassico, there's number 17, young Michel Pellerin on the Yamaha. 27, Claude Leroux on the Can-Am. And your pole sitter, number 160, the defending Canadian champion, Roger Mendonça. There's the flag, and the riders are off. Heading into turn 1, it is Claude Leroux. Leroux has taken the early lead here on the orange Can-Am. Roger Mendonça, number 160, in second. A good battle going into turn 2 here for third between Pellerin, number 17, and Lee Rassico, number 381. But it is Claude Leroux, number 27, who has taken the lead here on the start. Mendonça, number 160, in second. And Mendonça, who has been virtually unbeatable here at Shannonville Motorsport Park the last couple of years in Pro Formula 2 racing, sits back in the number 2 position, trying to reel in the leader, Claude Leroux, number 27.
Leroux, Pat, definitely got a hole shot on that start. Looks very comfortable in the lead. It's been a while since he's ridden here. Whoa, almost gets off there.
Leroux having a little bit of problems there as he made the transition from the right to the left-hand lean to come through the dogleg. That tire perhaps not quite up to temperature as yet. All of these riders running on slick tires. And the back end slid just a little bit. He was able to gather it back in as he runs it up the straightaway here on lap number 2. Roger Mendonça trying to close it up, and Mendonça has in fact picked up a couple of bike lengths, but it is still Leroux your leader, followed by Mendonça in second, Pellerin third, and Rassico fourth.
I expect Roger to give Claude a bit of a run here. Roger's a real charger at this track. It doesn't take him long to get back into the lead.
This Formula 2 class for years dominated by the Yamaha brands, but in the last 2 or 3 years, these Can-Am 250s have proved to be a very, very fast and a winning motorcycle in Formula 2 racing in Canada. They come back up through turn 5, that little left-hand dog leg, and then into turn number 6. It'll bring them back onto the front straightaway. There's Pellerin in second. It is in third, pardon me. It is still Rassico running fourth, and that is a good battle going on for third between the young Quebec rider Pellerin and Lee Rassico, a former amateur Formula 2 champion. But up front, it's the battle between the two Can-Am mounted riders. Leroux, 27, your leader. Mendonça, number 160, in second.
Behind Pellerin and Rassico, there's quite a battle going on between Trevitt and Barnes.
Peter Trevitt, a veteran Formula 2 rider, going up against another one of the rookies in Formula 2 racing, Pat Barnes from Toronto, and that is a good scrap between those two riders for that 5th place position. There's your leader, Claude Leroux, number 27, off the end of the back straightaway. Leroux continues to hold that margin that keeps going from between 6 to 10 bike lengths, but Mendonça's not been able to get any closer than that.
It almost seems as if Leroux knows exactly where Mendonça is.
Leroux, number 27, sitting up here along the straightaway, so you would think that he's not going exactly 100%, and if Mendonça was to close it up, he'd be able to push it a little bit harder. There you saw the two-rider scraps going on for positions 3 and 5. Leroux, 27, still holds the lead. There's that battle for third, and it's a good one between Pellerin, 17, and Lee Rassico.
This young Pellerin reminds me of a young Alain Labrosse, the way he rides, his riding style.
Pellerin has been riding very well the last couple of years. Here is veteran Daniel Santerre, number 103, about to be lapped by Claude Leroux, number 27. So that'll give you an idea of the pace being set here by Leroux. There you saw Mendonça, the 2nd place rider, go by. Here's your new 3rd place rider. It is Rassico up into 3rd. And it's Pat Barnes, who has now taken over the 4th place position. And Michel Pellerin is in 5th. And that is Peter Trevitt just through turn 6. He runs in the number 6 position. We're coming up to the last lap flag. It'll be out here at the line for number 27, Claude Leroux, who has led it each and every time across the start-finish stripe. Roger Mendonça, number 160, still back in that 2nd place position, and there you can see the margin, about half the length of the straightaway between turns 1 and 2 here at Shannonville. Leroux very, very smooth through turn 2, and at this point, with the lead that he has, he can back off the throttle just a little bit and run a conservative last lap.
That's right, Pat. He's definitely dialed back the throttle a little bit and just cruising home to the victory, I think.
He's sitting up along the back straightaway. Leroux coming up on yet another slower rider, but there you can see the margin. There's Mendonça now moving down the back straightaway. Leroux already out of turn 5. Just a couple of corners to go. That little left-hand lean through the dogleg and into turn 6.
That's right. LaRue comes through turn 6 on his way to victory. It's been a while since he's had one here at Shannonville.
There's the checkered flag and the victory for Beloil, Quebec's Claude LaRue on the Can-Am. Roger Mendoza, 160, finishes in second. Lee Rassico, a fine ride for Rassico to finish third. Pat Barnes was fourth. And young Michel Pellerin finishes in the number 5 position. But it is a start-to-finish win for number 27, Claude LaRue, as he completes his victory lap and pulls in here to the start-finish line. Ian McCallum is down there at the start-finish stripe. He'll be having a few words here with our happy Pro Formula 2 winner, Claude LaRue.
I know, Claude. It's been a while since...
It's been a while here,
You know, you don't understand it.
Okay.
Claude, it's been a long time since you won a race at Shannonville. You made it look easy.
It wasn't so easy. I hit a couple of bad slides in the opening laps, and especially at the end. But I saw the 4-second sign, so I could take the 2 last laps quite easy.
So you knew where Roger was most of the time?
Yeah, because of pit board, big pit signal.
Where do you go from here? Are you going to campaign at Granby race?
Yeah, at Granby I'm competing in Pro Formula 2 and also the Formula 125 races, you know, the small cars. So I'm doing the 2. It doesn't really please me to do the 2 of them, but I'm involved in the 2 series, so I have to do it.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thanks.
Riders on the line for the amateur Superbike final. There's the drop of the flag. Wheelies off the line. The riders charge into turn number 1. It is 19, Gilles Bolduc out of Elliott Lake, Ontario, on the Suzuki Katana, who grabs the early lead. Bolduc, number 19, off the end of the straightaway here into turn number 1. Look at that battle for second place. Dave Murphy, number 78, and 185, Tommy Douglas went side by side through turn 2. As they move onto the short chute, it is Murphy who has charged into the number 2 spot. Number 19, Gilles Bolduc, still your leader here on lap 1. Bolduc coming in here to this Molson Superbike Challenge round in the Castrol Series with a healthy lead in the amateur Superbike class and looking to add to that lead out here this afternoon through the dogleg. Murphy 78 in second, about 10 bike lengths back of the leader. Tommy Douglas 185 in third. And the 4th place rider across the line, it'll be number 13, David Grummett. Some great racing going on further back in the top 10. But here in the early going, it is number 19, Gilles Bolduc, your leader.
Bolduc definitely jumped out to a great start there, Pat. He's been riding really well this year, and he's definitely the man to beat. He looks like he wants victory today.
Good battle for second. That continues between Murphy, number 78, and 185. Tommy Douglas out of Montreal, but here's your leader, Gilles Bolduc, back onto the short chute. Douglas and Murphy continue to hammer each other for second, and we've got about 4 riders going for that 4th place position. Bolduc, number 19, really pushing hard here in the early going, hangs off the motorcycle, that right knee almost down on the pavement through turn number 5, climbing all over the big Suzuki. And of course, Bolduc, who's a former weightlifting champion, not afraid to muscle that motorcycle through the turns. Look how close that battle for second place is between Murphy, number 78, and Douglas, 185. That is a dandy.
That battle really heating up for second place. Dave Murphy on the 900 Ninja, and of course Tommy Douglas on the stock FZ 750 Yamaha. This boy is really riding well.
You've got to hand it to Douglas. He's just riding the wheels off that stock motorcycle, running on treaded tires. Murphy, number 78, and Bolduc running on the slick tires. So number 185, Douglas, having a great run out there. Right now back into number 3 position. Rider on the charge, number 7. That is Scott Broad on the Suzuki. He has now moved up here to challenge for that 3rd place position. But it is still Bolduc, number 19, your leader, off the end of the back straightaway. Hard on the brakes, down through the gearbox as he goes by the Molson side and into the hairpin of turn 5.
You can see the difference between these lightweight motorcycles and the heavyweight Superbikes when Bolduc brakes for corner 5, how the bike gets completely out of shape on him.
He's really got to hang on to this big Suzuki. Rider charged up into the 2nd place position. That is Steve Smart, who was back in the pack in the early going, but he has got around both Dave Murphy and number 185, Tommy Douglas. Steve Smart on a Suzuki, similar motorcycle to what Gilles Bolduc is riding. He has really put on a charge.
He's definitely put on a charge, Pat. I didn't even see him come through the field. He was going so fast. He's definitely making a move on Bolduc.
New 3rd place rider as well. Scott Broad has moved up into the number 3 spot. Tommy Douglas has dropped to 4th, and Dave Murphy is currently running in the number 5 position, but the lead battle moves on the back chute. 19, Joe Bolduc, your leader. You can see the difference between the two riders, and Smart will close it up under braking going into turn number 5. This is a great battle now. Bolduc looked as though he was going to run away with this one, but Steve Smart has really put on a charge here since about lap number 3. They come to the line. The last lap flag is out. Joe Bolduc, your leader. Steve Smart right on his rear tire as they go to turn 1.
It's definitely all or nothing for Steve Smart here as they head up into corner 2. He's definitely got to try to outbrake him here, Pat.
Smart under braking going into turn number 2. He'll try to close it up on Bolduc, but Smart goes wide. That is not the fast line through turn number 2.
Definitely not. You got to stay in tight in corner 2 to get the drive towards corner 3.
And Smart went a little wide. He could have blown any chance he had of overtaking Bolduc. Half a lap to go as they run it out of the left-hand return forward onto the short chute, back straightaway for the final time. Joe Bolduc holds the advantage. Steve Smart, 125. Again, will try to gather it back in, going into the hairpin, but is still Bolduc, number 19, your leader.
Yeah, Bolduc's definitely on the gas here. Smart's got one last try coming out of corner 6 if he can get the drive, but I don't think so.
It is Bolduc, number 19, coming to the line. The checkered flag about to unfurl, and there's the victory for the Elliott Lake, Ontario riders. Joe Bolduc. Steve Smart will finish in the number 2 position. It is Scott Broad on Suzuki in 3rd. Tommy Douglas finishes 4th, and Dave Murphy on the Kawasaki is back in the number 5 position. But there is your winner, Joe Bolduc, the rider running right with him here on the cool-down lap. Steve Smart, who really put on a tremendous charge and just simply ran out of laps. But here is your winner, Joe Bolduc, the former weightlifting champion who is retired from that sport and has become one of the premier amateur superbike riders in Canada, certainly looking up to move up to the pro ranks in 1986.
Gilles, congratulations. Congratulations. A nice run race.
Thanks.
Did you know Steve Smart was that close to you?
Last few laps, I thought I had a glimpse of him, but I thought I could hold him off.
You're making this habit forming, are you?
Trying to.
You plan on competing in Granby next weekend?
Yeah, for sure. I'm number 1 amateur this year. So.
You get quite a comfortable points lead now, don't you?
The more the merrier.
That's true. Congratulations again.
Thanks a lot.
We'll be back with the featured Pro Open Superbike final here at the Molson Superbike Challenge right after these messages.
The Nashville Network's what I want to see. Hook me up to the greatest stars of country. Hook me up. Cable is where I want to be. Hook me up to your news and sports and movies. With the Nashville Network, cable TV's for me. With the Nashville Network, cable TV's for me. Hook me up. Hook me up.
Welcome back to Molson Superbike 85. We're looking at Saturday's qualifying heat for the Molson Superbike final. This was for grid positions only. Riders revving up the motorcycles looking for the drop of the flag, and there it was into turn number 1. It is Paul McMillan, number 1, who grabs the early lead. Art Robbins, number 47, moving up into the number 2 position here on the straightaway. And going into turn number 2, Robbins goes to the outside to take the lead. But just behind the front-running group, you can see Peter Lusby, number 13, ran into the rear of Clive Nigakeen, and that produced a multi-rider pileup. None of the riders were really injured, as the riders more concerned with the damage to their motorcycles. Lang Hiddle, who had the mini-cam on his Kawasaki, was at the back of the field as they started that qualifying heat, and here is the footage that he gathered. You can see the riders accelerating off the start straightaway into turn 1. Lang actually grabs a fistful of throttle himself here and passes a couple of riders going up the straightaway. You will see that 4-rider pileup here in turn number 2. Lang decides to go exit stage left off into the grass, showing us a bit of his motocross riding skills. They did restart this qualifying heat, and it was Art Robbins taking the win, so he starts on the pole position for the Molson Superbike Challenge final. Ian McCallum is down there, and he has our front row riders.
The start of this big Molson Superbike Classic, any last-minute race strategy?
I'm just going to chase Art, and we'll see what happens. We got 20 laps, a long race, and the bike's going to have to hold out, and the tires. So we've set the bike up for 20 laps. We got hard tires on, and we'll start off cool, and we'll see what happens in the end.
Do you think you can run with Art? Him setting sub 50-second laps at times. Do you think that your bike's capable of keeping up with his?
Oh, I think so. It's just whether we can chase him and hang on the pace, how wild he's going to do it. I think that I go as fast as I usually need to, and if I have to go that fast to keep up to Art, we're going to give it a good whirl.
Good luck. Hope to see you in the winner's circle.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Ready? How important is this pole start for you?
My bike gets off the line pretty slow. If I can get into the corner first, I've got some ignition problems that we couldn't sort out. Just before the race, the bike ran great all week, and we run into a few problems now with quite a few things, ignition and coil on a one cylinder. So I'm not as confident as I was just a little while ago before all these problems started, but I'm going to give it my best.
A race strategy?
Well, my strategy will be I'll try to do the best, like I did all the other races, just the best as my knowledge. Not trying to race the other guy, but try to race the racetrack. And that's the way, kept me happy. My knowledge did not too bad today. So Suzuki are very competitive. I'm in good shape this afternoon, so my strategy will be just try to keep the pace of the guy in front. And if I'm the guy in front, well, let's hope that this will happen.
I hope you are too. Good luck.
Thanks.
Is this a problem for you?
No problem at all. We should have the lead by the exit of turn 1, and I hope to have the same lead when we cross the checkered flag at the end of the race.
Well, that's confidence. I hope you see you in the winner's circle.
Yeah, so do I. Thanks very much, Ian.
The 20-lap Molson Superbike final about to go off the starting line. There's the drop of the flag. McMurder with a big wheelie. McMillan, number 1, charges by McMurder. He takes the lead here going into turn 1. Paul McMillan with a great start here. Robbins, number 47, goes to the inside of Duhamel here into turn number 2, but he cannot get around. So it is McMillan, number 1, with the lead. Look at that traffic through turn number 2. John Cornwell, number 25, getting around. That was Ralph Murphy, but it is McMillan, number 1, who has the lead here on the opening lap. Along the back straightaway, 76 Duhamel, 47 Art Robbins. Robbins, number 47, charges by here into the number 2 position. But great racing up front. McMillan with a bit of an advantage, but he has got about 3 or 4 riders charging after him after getting away to a bit of an early lead. This will be lap 1 completed. There's Robbins in second. McMurder, number 24, in third as they run it through that number 1 turn here at Shannonville Motorsport Park at about 80 miles an hour, and then up the straightaway where these motorcycles will reach about 125, 130. Robbins closing. There is McMurder in third. Close battle going on there for positions 4 and 5. The riders starting to string out here just a little bit on lap number 2. Robbins, 47, closing on Paul McMillan. He's right up alongside. He'll take over the lead. A beautiful pass by number 47, Robbins, as he simply out-horsepowered number 1, Paul McMillan. And now Robbins starting to pull away aboard that Yamaha TZ750. McMillan closing up in the dogleg.
Well, McMillan kept his promise for 2 laps, Pat, but Robbins is definitely on the charge. Robbins wants victory here today.
Well, that Yamaha a lot lighter than the big Suzuki 4-stroke that McMillan is riding, and again, they're going to have to be going 20 laps out here, and that is going to be a handful running that big, heavy Suzuki for McMillan. Right now is Robbins, number 47, with the lead. McMurder, 24, closing on McMillan. We're going to have a real battle here for second place between those 2 riders. Here's your leader, Robbins, 47, coming into the left-hander, and then the battle for second. That is number 1, McMillan, followed by 24, McMurder.
McMillan definitely having the horsepower advantage down the straightaway, but the lighter Yamaha definitely better on the brakes going into the corners.
Into turn 5, you can see it there as McMurder again trying to close it up. On McMillan, it's just 4 or 5 bike lengths separating the Suzuki and the Yamaha. But your race leader, Art Robbins, number 47, pulling away from that second place battle involving defending Castrol Series champion or number 1 plate holder Paul McMillan and Ruben McMurder, number 24. McMurder coming off a fine third place finish out at Laguna Seca, California, aboard that Yamaha just a week prior to this Molson Superbike Challenge event. But your leader, Robbins, out of turn 3, the battle for second. It is McMillan followed by McMurder.
Yeah, Ruben's not having the greatest season down the AMA, and of course he had such bad luck here last year with getting a flat tire and a few laps left to go in the race. He's definitely hungry.
He wants that second place position. He's got to get around McMillan before he can go after the leader, Robbins. And of course, as we heard earlier, Ian, in your interview just prior to the race, McMurder's strategy was to try to get up front and run with Robbins, try to stay on the pace. But right now, he's having his hands full with Paul McMillan, number 1. He just cannot get around McMillan.
That's right, Pat. That Katana definitely has the horsepower advantage down the straightaway. McMurder's trying his darndest to get by, but he's going to have to work at it.
Well, there you can see again, McMurder closes it right up, and he is pushing very hard. That is Mercier in the number 4 position, Norm Murphy 87 in 5th. McMurder pushing very hard in the turns. He closes up, but then again on the straightaway, Paul McMillan is able to pull away. There you can see about a bike length. They move on the straightaway. There you can see the margin opens up to about 4 bike lengths. Again, McMurder closes it back up going into the hairpin.
Ruben's definitely trying hard to get around Paul, but with that horsepower advantage, it's going to be really, really hard.
The question now is how many laps can McMillan hold onto that big, heavy Suzuki? Is climbing all over the motorcycle. That motorcycle can be a real handful out here. McMurder on the lighter Yamaha FZ 750. The latest in Superbike technology. McMillan riding really an older version 1000cc machine, but still holding on to that second place position. There's Mercier, number 11, in 4th. That is 87, Norm Murphy in 5th, and then Lee Rasco doing a good job on the Yamaha TZ250 as he runs in the number 6 position. But the battle for second place, the best one out here on the racetrack, Paul McMillan, number 1, holds on a second. McMurder knocking on the door. Robbins just ahead of them, the leader, holds about 25 to 30 bike lengths up on that second place battle.
I'm sure Ruben at this point is wondering how to get by Paul because, of course, Art's opened up the lead and McMurder wanted to be right behind him at the start.
There you can see Robbins made the quick check over the right shoulder just to see where that second place battle was. McMillan, number 1. 24, McMurder. That is the battle for second. Robbins, number 47, up front, trying to win his third Molson Superbike feature. He, of course, won it in 1982 here, his very first year as a professional class rider after an outstanding amateur career that took less than 1 year, that in 1981. As Robbins continues to lead it, that race for second place works the back chute here at Shannonville Motorsport Park. Paul McMillan holds onto that second place position, but Ruben McMurder right on his rear tire aboard the Sports-Field Yamaha FZ 750.
McMillan definitely riding hard to stay in front of Ruben. Ruben is definitely pushing. You can see Paul climbing all over that bike to keep it on the racetrack.
Through turn 1, again, these motorcycles about 80 miles an hour, and then they'll get back up through the gearbox as they run it up the straightaway. Here's McMurder, number 24, on the inside. They're side by side into turn number 2, and McMurder takes over that second place position, and it looks like number 1, McMillan trying to take it right back, and McMillan has taken back that second place position. So they shuffle the number 2 spot once again. McMurder took over the second place position, but then going into turn 3, McMillan was able to dive back on the inside to retake the number 2 spot.
You can see the difference in braking advantage there, Pat, when they went in the corner, too. McMurder hard on the brakes, got a little wide exiting, too, and McMillan able to go underneath him again.
This is certainly the best racing we have seen throughout the top 10 this afternoon. That battle for second going to turn 1, and they've been this close since the opening lap. Paul McMillan, number 1, who led just briefly until Art Robbins, number 47, got around. And Robbins, who earlier this week apparently unofficially went under the existing track record here at Shannonville Motorsport Park, turning some sub-50-second laps, running a very hot pace as he's already into some of the slower traffic. That battle for second that has been so close all race long moves on the back straightaway. McMillan, number 1, holds on a second. McMurder, number 24, is hungry. He wants the number 2 spot.
He's definitely charging, Pat. Like I said before, Art is getting away, and he's got to do something about getting around McMillan to try and catch Art.
Well, Robbins trying to work his way through some of the slower traffic. There you can see 3, 4 riders ahead of him through turn 1. Here is McMillan number 1 and McMurder 24 as they'll split the back marker. That's number 71, Mike Mill. As McMillan goes outside, McMurder tucks to the inside. They pass the rider on the straightaway. And again, it is McMurder trying it on the inside of McMillan. That is just an incredible race that's going on for second. But here's your leader, Art Robbins, coming up through the dogleg through turn number 6. Robbins has ridden just a very, very strong race. He, of course, was concerned with some ignition problems that they had just prior to the start of the race. But so far, his Yamaha Toronto TZ750 has run just perfectly out here. You can see Robbins still pushing very hard. Here is the last lap flag out at the line. There's the checkered flag. Robbins, your winner. Robbins wins it. The checkered flag coming out here as the starter and referee Ray Bozeman had the last lap flag out for some of the riders. There's 11 Michel Mercier, who finishes just ahead of Paul McMillan, with Reuben McMurder grabbing second. So it is Robbins your winner, Reuben McMurder in the second, and Michel Mercier in the third. Here is Art Robbins, number 47, with Miss Molson Superbike Karen Martin. A very happy Art Robbins. He's made it 3 out of 4 here at the Molson Superbike Challenge, and in the process setting a new track record of 49.97 seconds, the first rider to go under the 50-second mark here at Shannonville Motorsport Park. So there is Robbins, your winner. Reuben McMurder in second, Michel Mercier third, Paul McMillan was fourth, and Norm Murphy, his Brooklyn Cycle Suzuki teammate, finishes in the number 5 position. Art Robbins waving to the corner marshal.
Third Molson Superbike victory. How's it feel?
Great. Sure beats coming in second.
How it didn't take you long to get to the front?
Yeah, that was the plan. I knew there was a very small line through turn 2, and you get bunched up in 5th place and go through a section where there's only one line, and you'll get strung out and you'll lose a lot of time, which might have happened to a few of the guys behind me.
Did you know how far Reuben was behind? Were they giving you signals?
I didn't have signals. I wish I had it. I just kind of was waiting to hear him come up, and I was trying to save a lot of reserve because I knew he always finishes strong. So my plan was to just ride it with normal caution, and if he comes up, I just have to do what I can, pick it up.
Where do you go from here? Granby?
Granby, and then we have Mid-Ohio, and we're going to continue finishing the series, trying to get some new bikes together for next year, and all the sponsors have been fantastic, especially Toronto Yamaha, with Phil Ross and all the boys there. They've been just great.
Well, congratulations again, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
A happy and tired Art Robbins winning his 3rd Molson Superbike Challenge title here at Shannonville Motorsport Park. The celebration continues there at the Molson Victory Circle with Art Robbins, your winner, Reuben McMurder, your 2nd place finisher, and Michel Mercier in 3rd, getting their Molson Superbike trophies. And that concludes Rogers Cable 10's coverage of Molson Superbike 85. For color commentator Ian McCallum, Lang Hindle, and the entire Rogers Cable 10 crew, this is Pat Gonzalez saying so long from Shannonville Motorsport Park.